Hey all, sIEGE here, and today I'm just gonna go and warn all of you about the upcoming looter shooter Outriders. Please, understand I had and still have high hopes for what Outriders can become, but recent developments have me significantly worried, and I wanted to just reflect on new looter shooters being released, as well as just games in general when we're talking about the current gaming industry. It's no secret that many big name games, looter shooters in particular, are releasing in a really bad spot. I think you need look no further than Anthem, Cyberpunk 2077, and Marvel's Avengers as a direct reference to this concept. And what really has me worried is something I'm not sure everyone remembers about the releases of all three of these titles. Mainly that they were all pushed back from their original release dates in order to polish and finalize the game at launch. And then what happened? They still launched as broken, buggy messes. This actually seems to be a theme in gaming more recently, as Destiny 2's Beyond Light release had more bugs and glitches than I can personally ever remember for any of its major DLC releases, and let's be honest, Warframe has made a consistent habit of releasing unoptimized, buggy, and broken content. So the question we have to ask is, should we just begin to expect this type of performance with every new release, be it in our old games or new? No matter what you think about that, there is significant historical reference of games deciding to push back their releases in order to make sure the game is in a spot where it will be able to be enjoyed properly, and then the extra time taken really not amounting to anything more than just extra time being taken. Not necessarily to fix anything. And it's this aspect of the situation that got me thinking about what's really going on here. If the developers are actually taking time to fix things, why are the games still releasing in such bad shape? I mean, only two real options actually exist here. One, that they didn't really do much during the extra time they had, or, more concerning, that these games are in an almost unworkable state at their originally stated release dates, and the work done from then until the actual release date is just trying to fix the game up enough so that it doesn't get completely destroyed by the people who actually do pony up the money to play day one. Judging from the difficult times Anthem, Marvel's Avengers, and most notably Cyberpunk had to deal with post-launch, I'd say it's the latter, and that the work they are doing isn't even cutting it very well in the end, now is it? This leads me to the news that Outriders will be pushing their release back from February of 2021 to now April of 2021, and for the first time with this game, I'm starting to get a little worried. Personally, having worked in corporate America for as long as I have, I've begun to notice a pattern in gaming circles, mainly that corporate doublespeak has become somewhat of a second language for developers of many of the major and some minor titles that we play. I'm going to leave a link in the description to an article that more adequately explains what corporate doublespeak is for those who have not experienced this form of lying without lying, and although it's somewhat long, it really is an interesting read and may protect you from some of the more egregious utilizations of this concept in the future, if you're observant, of course. Phrases like the infamous, "we are listening to feedback," are just methods of coddling the consumer. They aren't listening to shit. And I think you all pretty much know that, whether or not you're willing to admit it. Of course, they may change things, but it will only be changes they themselves are willing to administer, not what you want, and generally not when you want it. And this leads me to my newfound intrepidation towards Outriders. Will the game be a broken mess when it does launch? Maybe not, but as I've already shown, this type of announcement historically does not bode well for a new or even existing title. Really, the only saving grace I've seen in recent memory is what happened to Cyberpunk. They were the first company to actually hold themselves accountable and also be held publicly accountable for releasing a buggy game. Sure, Anthem and Marvel's Avengers eventually lost revenue to a diminishing player base, but if you bought the game, especially before launch, getting a refund for an obviously broken product was not an easy task, and in most instances wasn't even possible. At least with CD Projekt Red, they admitted to how bad the game was, took the L, and with that L took a substantial revenue loss in offering both refunds and not having the game available for future purchase over on the Xbox and PlayStation stores, which in my opinion was a significant positive step towards the consumer. One that, if emulated by other games in the future, might even make me more willing to pre-order games again, given that I'm being offered a safety net for a bad launch. I think this works to better the industry overall in two very distinct ways. One, the consumer will feel better about pre-orders again, which always helps a company's financials when they can show fixed and definite revenue for a project even before its release. It just makes shareholders so much more compliant to future requests when they see success in the marketing of a new product, which invariably is what's being shown when a new title can garner strong revenue before the product is even launched. That means, in the minds of consumers, they've responded well to what they've been shown and told, and it represents a nice pact between they and the developers and the corporations they represent. A pact that has been losing a lot of its relevancy over the last few years, to the point that most people who know anything about the gaming industry will tell you up front, don't pre-order games anymore. And in the case of Outriders, while this new title looks very intriguing, I see the game as a kind of hybrid between Anthem and Remnant from Ashes, with other looter shooter ideas and concepts from other games sprinkled in. And considering the game was on pace to release when it should, well, right up until a little while ago, it has me seriously questioning what it will actually look like and play like at release. So, I wanted to at least put this little PSA out there for all of you as a warning. Will Outriders go the same route as Anthem? I can't say. Will it be as buggy of a launch as Cyberpunk? Again, I'm no psychic, so I can't say. Here's what I do know, though. Outriders has now situated itself in the exact position these other launch failures were in. And so, I don't think we can just assume it will be great anymore. We can hope for it, certainly. But to just stick our heads in the sand until then would be asking for trouble. And my goal was to have as little people as possible pick the game up and then hate it because of a bad release. As it is, there's no guarantee with this game that you're going to get your money back, that they will fix anything in a timely manner, or that the delay in release will do anything more than it did for Cyberpunk or Anthem or any other game that decided to push its initial release back. If you watch this video, if nothing else, you can't say you weren't warned. And that's the point. And please, don't misunderstand. I want it to succeed. I plan on purchasing the game at some point because it looks really fun. But I'm not going to just defend its shortcomings because I don't want to admit I made a bad purchase. This happens far too frequently, and I'm not sure people are actually seeing the negative pattern that's emerging. And I'm not going to let that stand. Again, feel free to do whatever you want. Pre-order the game. Get hyped for it. Do whatever you want to do. Just don't go complaining if things go south at launch. You can wait to see how the game releases before you buy it. And if peer pressure is making you think that's not the case, that you have to buy it beforehand, well, maybe you should reconsider the company you keep. You know, I've been waiting so long for a game to actually challenge Warframe and Destiny because I think it's pretty obvious they need competition. When Anthem was in its infancy, I saw real fear from Steve at DE because he knew that game would be a direct competitor of Warframe. I think we all saw how gung-ho DE was about the whole situation. They made a roadmap. They were generating ideas. There was a palpable buzz during the dev stream because a challenge had been laid at their feet. Sadly, when Anthem fell, so did this level of enthusiasm. You can see it during the current dev streams. There's just not a lot of passion there anymore. Our current looter shooters need a good game to revitalize everybody's creative spirits. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. Destiny, Warframe, The Division, you name it. They need something to push them, and nothing exists to do that. Outriders was shaping up to be that game, but now I'm just not so sure, and I want you to make your decision on purchasing it with as much pertinent data as possible. Times are really rough for many people, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, so this is me watching out for your wallet. Now, remember, in the end, it's ultimately your decision, and you do whatever you feel is necessary for you. I just think you should be considering this information as well when you make that choice. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if nothing else, use it for all your future endeavors. Be aware that Companies like Bungie, Square Enix, DE, they don't care about you as an individual. You personally don't move the needle enough to be relevant to them, just like me, and there are very few who hold that kind of sway. Now, start making these companies' pocketbooks a little bit lighter when they mess up, and just like Cyberpunk, they will get the idea, I promise you. In truth, money is the only thing that really says anything anymore. At any rate, I hope you have a wonderful day today. Use this info in really all of your future purchases, as you will become a smarter consumer overall because of it. And I'll talk at you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.